not what I'm trying. I'm not trying to shun him away,
Yeah, yeah. You
but
just don't know what to
you
do.
just don't know what to do.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to Parenthood, the space where stories of parenting meet the many shades of personhood. I'm your host, Neha Garg, and whether you're tuning in on a commute, during a walk, or just catching a moment of breath while your little one naps, thank you for letting us be part of your day. This week, I have the absolute joy of speaking with someone many of us have grown up watching. Someone whose on screen presence made a mark in our living rooms, but whose off screen journey is just as compelling. You may know her as the strong and stylish Pallavi from Kahani Ghar Ghar Ki, but today she shows up in an entirely different light. Joining us is Shweta Kawaatra, an actor, a wellness enthusiast, a realty professional, and most intimately, a mother to her 13-year-old daughter Zahara. Shweta has navigated fame, reinvention, and the beautiful chaos of motherhood with grace, honesty, and a deep sense of inner alignment. I cannot wait to dive into her story with you. Shweta, welcome to Parenthood, and thank you so much for saying yes.
Thank you so much, Neha. That was such a lovely introduction. I felt like I was talking to myself.
Oh my God.
Sometimes I feel women understand women better. I mean, sometimes तो बोलना ही नहीं चाहिए मुझे ना.
Huh, I know.
But
Yeah.
thank you. That was a lovely introduction.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'd love to begin with you, not your bio, not your roles, but
Sure,
you. If you
sure.
were to describe yourself using only three words or phrases that capture the essence of who you are, what would they be and why?
Mm, I'd say dynamic,
Mm-hmm.
authentic,
Mm-hmm.
vulnerable,
Yeah.
and grounded.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So beautiful and powerful.
You asked for three, I gave you four because I
That's
just felt
okay.
the need.
And
Yeah,
we are thankful for that. Let's move a little into your family story now. Can you
sure.
introduce us to your family?
Sure. So, my married family, we have three of us, my husband and a 13-year-old daughter, and Maya, I should say
Yes.
four.
Yes.
Maya, our pet poodle.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we're a nuclear family.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, Manav and I both are not from Mumbai. We currently live in Mumbai,
Yeah.
but we made our way into Mumbai with aspiration in eyes in our very, very young 20s. And our paths crossed in our early 20s. And we happen to be married now for, we'll complete 21 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Other than that, I'm from Delhi.
yeah.
My parents are still there. In fact, I studied a big chunk of my education in Faridabad.
Uh-huh.
Yes, a large part of me actually um, uh, was I went to St. Joseph's School, St.
Oh,
Joseph's Convent.
yeah. Huh?
I I started roller skating in Faridabad.
Wow.
It was a sport which was very not very well known in India at that time. Faridabad brought up many national level roller skaters. I was one of them.
Wow. I didn't know
And
this.
yeah, there is a community center. I don't know what looks like. I don't even know if it's there anymore in Sector 15.
Yes.
I think it's there. It's there.
Yes.
So we used to go there. अब जैसा अब दिखता है वैसा नहीं था.
Hmm.
And yeah, we used to skate to Delhi for our tournaments, do our Faridabad to Delhi and back at 5 in the morning
Wow.
to for stamina की
Wow.
practice करते थे हम लोग वहां पर.
Wow.
So I have very fond memories growing up there. Then we shifted back to Delhi. That's
Uh-huh.
where originally we are from. My parents are still there.
Uh-huh.
And I do keep going. मतलब my roots, जहाँ parents हो वहाँ roots, जहाँ बड़े हो वही roots होते हैं.
Huh.
Mumbai is Karam Bhumi. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Mm.
your daughter's name, Shweta, I have to talk about it. Zahara-Tabeetha. Is that right?
Yes, that's
It's
right.
it's
Yes.
it's so striking. It sounds like it carries a story. Can you tell us how you arrived at that name? What does it mean to you? How does it reflect who she is?
So Zahra, she has two first names,
Mm-hmm.
Zahra and Tabitha.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I was very small, I really fancied this name, Zahra.
Uh-huh.
And strangely, when Manav and I progressed in our relationship, when we were talking marriage and babies,
Yeah.
he came up with the same name that he had been romancing for his daughter.
Wow.
So फिर तो कोई कॉन्फ्लिक्ट नहीं था. अभी
Hmm.
शादी होनी बाकी थी लेकिन नाम डिसाइड हो गया था बच्चे का. And after we had Zara, somehow I think before delivery, this name Tabitha really caught my fancy and his too. So
Hmm.
we were confused कि हम Zahra रखें because we had this attachment to it from so long.
Yeah.
We almost felt like we betraying the name
Yeah.
or betraying our romance.
Yeah.
Then Rita was like calling us. At some point, we realized ये दोनों नाम रख लेते हैं.
Wow.
And anyway, I had this fancy for longish names.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, let's do this. So Zahra is an Egyptian name.
Mm-hmm.
It means flower blossom. It has
Wow.
many meanings. The meaning that resonated most with us is flower blossom.
Mm-hmm.
Tabitha is Greek. It means beautiful and graceful, like a gazelle.
Wow. Mhm.
And together, we realized it also has a meaning. It means like a beautiful, graceful blossom.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. How beautiful is that? And how does she feel that, because it's not very usual to have two first names, and she's a
Yes,
girl with two. So, how
yes.
does she feel about that?
So it's very, I normalized it for I realized, that I realized that एक तो उसको लोगों को प्रोनाउंस करने में प्रॉब्लम होगी. बहुत सारे सवाल आएंगे. इनिशियली नहीं आएंगे, but eventually जाके आएंगे. So I wanted to normalize it for her.
Right.
And right from the time she was born, because we knew what we have gotten her into.
Yeah.
So as soon as she started going to even play school,
Hmm.
I started explaining this whole process to the teachers every time the teacher changed or a
Yeah.
new grade teacher
Yeah.
came in,
Yeah.
and other subject teachers, and writing to the school telling them that her name is Zahra-Tabeetha. So it's Zahra with a hyphen and Tabitha. So which means these are first names.
Right.
Like जब लोगों के दो surnames होते हैं. So
Right.
there is a hyphen between the
That's right.
surnames,
That's
which
right.
means these are two surnames.
Yes.
So I started sounding off the teachers and telling them that when you call out her attendance, please call her as Zahra-Tabeetha Gohil.
Hmm.
And when I taught her, when we were teaching her to write her name,
Right.
we would write it as Zahra-Tabeetha Gohil. For a
Uh-huh.
child learning, they are उनके लिए long और short नहीं होता. वो lack of patience वो हम में होती है as adults or as growing adults.
Yeah.
Not at that age. They are not thinking ये लंबा है या छोटा है. So she always learned to write her name as Zahra-Tabeetha Gohil. So it was completely normalized. When she was asked questions, she just found it
Yeah.
normal to answer them. This is
Yeah.
how it is.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
I
And
really did make an effort towards that
I am sure you did. I am
because I
sure.
didn't want to confuse the child and create a conflict in her mind
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then come back as why is my name so long.
Yeah.
The only sort of complaint I got was कि Z से क्यों रखा मेरा roll call last पे.
Yeah, yeah. I can imagine how tough it must be to just wait for her turn while the teacher calls out
So
everybody
in fact,
else's.
that for that I told her कि ठीक है, give your teacher an idea कि तू पीछे से भी शुरू कर लिया करो कभी कभी.
Yes, yes.
So she did that, and then she was very happy because she was first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Shweta, I'm also interested in knowing that, you and Manav both are public figures, have been public figures. So navigating parenting under a certain gaze, you being
Yeah.
public figures, how has your relationship with each other and with the public evolved over time, especially with Zahra-Tabeetha coming into the picture?
Um, I think we're just such home birds, and we're just so grounded, and हमें कुछ ज़्यादा, and it's also normalized for us. So for us, it
Right,
doesn't really matter.
right.
When we come back home or when we're talking to each other, we are not actors. We are not
Hmm.
public gaze means public gaze is towards the actors, right? Not
Right.
necessarily towards people.
Yeah.
Very few like you who would want to know the person behind the face.
Yes.
Many do, but not to that level, right?
Yeah.
It's mostly like that actor thing. When we look at each other, we are not looking at each other as actors. So there's the normalization and neutralization of that aspect immediately happens.
Right.
And for Zahra, uh, also we never really exposed her to our profession for a
Mm.
very long time.
Yeah.
Um, she had no clue. She would, in fact, when she was till about 6 or 7, she used to wonder ki, she happened to, I remember the first time she acknowledged, but she happened to go to a friend's house who was her close friend in the building,
Right.
and her grandmother watches serials.
Mm-hmm.
So she also follows one of the shows that I was doing and Mana was doing. तो वो एक आध बार उसने देख लिया. So she was very confused कि ये अंदर कैसे है टीवी के. अच्छा, and also we did not give her much exposure to a television.
Right.
हम लोग घर में टेलीविजन ही नहीं देखते.
Yeah.
So um, so she was very confused, and that is when she asked them questions. So they
Mm.
were also surprised कि अच्छा आपको पता नहीं है आपके पापा एक्टर हैं. तो उसको
Hmm.
पता नहीं था कि एक्टर क्या होता है.
Right.
So for the longest time, that was her exposure. Then it would be very confusing when people would come up, and if you holidaying or going out, see, thankfully Bombay में तो ऐसे कोई पूछता नहीं है.
Right.
But only when we go out,
Mm-hmm.
people would want a selfie.
Yes.
She didn't think. बच्चे को जब शुरू से ऐसे दिखता है ना, वो बहुत देर तक तो सवाल भी नहीं पूछते कि ऐसा है क्यों, because it's normal for them.
Right.
Later, at some point, she started noticing and realizing कि ये इन लोगों के पास कुछ लोग आते हैं और very खुश होते हैं उनको देख के. So I think we just allowed her to. We didn't. I didn't work most of the part of my parenthood. I chose that way. I did for some time, each sporadically here and there. I did. I never took her to set. Manav happened to take her to set when we were both sort of stuck. कि अब क्या करें?
Right.
So in those times, mostly she would be in the makeup room or mingling with people perhaps. So slowly, she got an idea, but much later she got an idea.
But does she now understands like fully?
Definitely now I would say after 8 or 9 she started understanding, and then she also started telling us कि ये जो आप suddenly बड़ी fake smile नहीं करते हो. So So I was like, why do you say that? Because I'm genuinely trying to be genuine when I smile,
Yeah.
because I feel that it's going to be a capture for someone. It's going to be
Yes.
special for someone.
Yes.
But I didn't ask her, but I don't try and be fake. But why do you think I'm being fake? Sometimes bachas catch something that you're not aware of.
Yeah.
She said, no, because suddenly you smile. So then I had to tell her that, for me, it means that let me give my best smile in the most genuine way, even though I was not smiling necessarily before, because they're going to keep it and cherish it, perhaps. In
Yeah.
the hopes that they will cherish it.
That's such a nice thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And is there a parenting philosophy or approach that you and Manav both align on and as well as disagree on?
Align on, yes, there's one thing we definitely align on is that if one is upset with Zahra,
Mm-hmm.
both are not going to be upset with her,
Mm.
even if we are aligning on the what is going
Cause
on.
of the yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So uh, it's one of us because we don't want her to feel abandoned. It can be really scary if both grown ups
yes,
tower over you in such disagreement or
yeah.
unpleasant. We don't really kind of shout. मैं नहीं बोलूंगी कभी shout नहीं करते,
Hmm.
but we are quite mindful parents. Yeah, so that is something that we align on for sure, and disagree on. सोचना पड़ेगा.
Wow.
Disagree. I
मतलब
think,
आपको सोचना पड़ेगा.
yeah, सोचना तो पड़ेगा because we're quite aligned. And one thing that perhaps I can call it a disagreement is now, it's coming up now, to just set her free a little more,
Hmm.
which I'm having difficulty. And
Yeah.
Manav feels that, don't be so controlling.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if I don't feel I'm being controlling, but perhaps I am. But it also comes from the fear of knowing and seeing what one
Yeah.
has with experience,
Yes.
and your child cannot.
Yes.
So I think that protective thing aa
Yes.
jata hai.
Yeah.
That is something I'm agreeing to disagreeably agreeing on now. I think I need to pull back a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your home sounds like such a peaceful, serene, and nice energy place.
With a teenager around, not anymore.
So what's the energy like at home these days?
वैसे हमारा घर पीसफुल ही है.
Hmm.
ज्यादा हो गया है because we Manav and I disagree also very respectfully. कभी कभी लगता है कि साथ good. I've just come to realize that it was great. It was actually great for a child to
Hmm.
not experience the anxiety of her parents fighting.
Yeah.
But उसके एक थोड़ा सा disadvantage ये है that she will start seeing the world is like that, and the world is full of
Yeah.
conflict. You
Yes.
step out of the domain and it is full of conflict.
Yeah.
I just realized that अभी मुझे लगता है कि हमें थोड़ा सा ऐसे लड़ लेना चाहिए. Just for the sound of it. Or when we are disagreeing, let's make a scene, little scene. See conflict at home.
Yeah.
Some
Wow. That's like a good goal to have, like
पता है अभी मुझे उसके थोड़े डाउनसाइड दिखने लगे from my child's point of view.
yeah.
Because because she's a girl and Manav's a 50% parent.
Hmm.
He's completely his 50%. He's his complete 50%.
Hmm.
So being a girl child and being a father, their energies are more synchronized.
Yeah.
The pan flies here and there a little more with me.
Hmm.
जो बर्तन इधर से उधर खटकते हैं
Yes.
वो मेरे साथ जरूर होता है. It
Yeah.
started post I think at 9 it started.
Mm-hmm.
And I understood it. I said, this is a female thing. It's a
Yeah.
phenomena. You had it with your mom. So don't expect this to not happen in your household. It's natural. I told myself then and there. So
Yeah.
that just brace yourself and gear up and hold on. Na core tight kar lo तुम और strong कर लो. So but उससे क्या होता है कि the downside of not seeing conflict that there is too much siding because
Yeah.
we are also three, right?
Yeah.
So the too much siding sometimes happens from her end. She
Yes.
feels that, sometimes when she's not getting along, that she's the odd one out.
Yeah.
So that can happen, but then I tell myself, ठीक है, ये भी phenomena है. जब जहाँ three की family होती है, वहाँ ऐसे होता है.
Hmm. Hmm.
Just learning along the way.
That's right. That's
But
right.
अभी मैं सोच रही हूँ कि कभी कभी कोई conflict हो गया, कोई disagreement हो गई, तो I am not going to hold myself back. Now is a good time for, because it's not like we really hold ourselves back. We just genuinely not trying to put up a face in front of her.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm glad that she's not a child who's at least not grown up with this anxiety that my
Yes.
parents don't get along, or they fight too often, or they have, the एक बच्चे में वो आ जाती है अंदर
Yes.
से, because they
Yes.
start fearing is that
Insecurity.
insecurity, and they
Yes.
sometimes can think is it their fault.
Yes.
वो तो ढूंढने भी जाओगे तो नहीं है. मुझे लगता है now that she's 13 and turning a new chapter of her life, I would be okay, but I'll have to look for opportunities like that.
Now, suddenly, if Manav is sitting one day and you come shouting and he won't know what hit him, he will be like, where is this coming
No,
from?
yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah,
Yeah, but
that
I
might
hope
just happen.
he's in alignment with this thought before you
You know
pounce
what?
on him. Like,
He's not. I'll make sure that he's in alignment now. I'm almost thinking aloud while you're asking these questions to me. Yeah.
yeah, we'll send this episode to him then.
Yes, but I'm going to be more myself now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And I want to also ask you about those little notes that you sneak into. I mean, I have not seen them for a very long time now, but I used to see those little notes that you write for Zahara
Okay.
and as well as for Manav and sneak in their little tiffin boxes.
Yes, yes.
Uh, is that something that you intentionally thought of, or is that how you are as a person? Just is your love language words of
I'm not like that as a person.
Mhm.
Uh, just that becoming a parent made me realize that I have just sat in a bullet train and I don't know what's the destination. I wasn't geared up for this momentum, and and I'm the driver and I'm on the
Right.
driving seat, and I have passengers behind me, and I don't know how to steer this.
Yeah.
And so I decided that I'm going to just learn how to be a parent. Else, I'll just role model all the baggage that I come with. And that I wasn't okay with, because I was like, the buck has to stop and the turning point is here and now.
Yeah.
And I began my journey and I didn't know where to look.
Mm.
So I started. Thankfully, at that time, social media had just about started, but it was
Yeah.
so small
Yeah.
that Google to kar hi lete the. So
Mm.
I happened to come across some very nice courses, one of them being Dr. Laura Markham. She's amazing, ahaparenting.com. And I realized much later that I stumbled upon just the right person. I made mistakes also. I did stumble upon the ones that said, ki time out de do,
Mm.
and hold on. I did those mistakes, but I realized later. But वही है कि कई बार कोई स्टेशन पे रुकना था, वहां भूल गए, छूट गई कि यहाँ रुकना था.
Right.
So that's how I think I came upon these notes, because somewhere I came across this thing about connection, because 2-year old tantrums
Mm.
are very real.
Yeah.
They just bring out a new person in the child. कि लगता है ये है कौन?
Mm.
And terrible twos, as they call
Yes.
them, they are terrible. And they last not just in the twos, they go on till 4 and 5, no, four at least. So I think somewhere I realized that anytime the child loses connection, they kind of have a tantrum. And
Right.
that goes for us human beings, even as adults. When we
Yeah.
lose connection, we may not know we are losing connection with the person.
Yeah.
And we start having fights or disagreements or seeing their limitations a little more than normal
Yeah.
or feeling victimized.
Yeah.
So, connection is such an important part of the human world that then I started reading up more and researching more. And I realized that every time you sleep or you go to school or you go to the gym, you are disconnected from your child.
Yeah.
It's called separation. You need to connect back. And I was like, okay, that's a few times in a day, good few times in a day. Every time you step out of the home or the child steps out of the home, you need to connect back.
Yeah.
So, so these notes sort of became my love language to her, to let her know that you can feel connected to me in your heart too. If that's the, because mother या father, that's the connection, and the parent connection is the first connection they go back to.
Right.
टीनेज में सब बदल जाता है, वो अलग बात है.
Yeah. A long
Yeah.
time off for me.
Yeah. How old are your kids?
2. Yeah. He's 2.
Oh, your child is 2.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, long time for you. Please enjoy it. Although ऐसे enjoy होता नहीं है कुछ भी. No, you're such a. I don't know if you enjoy it.
I
I was
love
just.
it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I am loving it. I'm loving every moment of it.
Nice. It is beautiful.
It is beautiful. Yes.
Yes, no doubt. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't sugarcoat parenting.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, yeah, parenting as an act and enjoying that phase, they are two very different things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Parenting is just so hard. It's
It's very
exhausting.
hard. See, joy is there as an experience.
Yes. Yes.
But in the moment, there are so many challenges.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't get rest.
Yeah.
You are constantly just moving from one thing to the other. So yeah. Hmm. But I
Yes.
want to ask you, Shweta, also, you talked about, how she's kind of growing as a person. And if she were to introduce you on a podcast like this, what would she say?
Oh my God. She would say, my mother is very boring. She is overprotective.
Uh-huh.
She's not spontaneous. She's very kind.
Mm-hmm.
She's silly and funny. And she needs to have more friends.
Do you?
Um, more friends?
Yeah.
No, I'm happy with the friends that I have. I
Mm.
don't feel the need to have too many.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. At the same time, I am friendly.
Yeah.
And when I feel that someone sort of deserves my vulnerability, I just rope them in
Yeah.
and make friends. And bade okay, it's a process, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Socializing is not friendship.
Yes.
ऐसे तो बहुत friends हैं.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
who do you allow to enter your personal space
Yes.
is is a selective matter.
Yeah.
That way, I don't know why she feels I should have more friends.
Mm.
Maybe she has a way of maybe saying that do a bit more than just look at me.
Yeah. And maybe she's at that point of life where it's good to have a lot of friends.
Yes,
You
yes,
have a
yes.
lot of friends. So
Yeah, she has a lot of friends.
yeah.
I compared to that, I have a lot of progress to do.
Or maybe she needs to downsize a lot.
It's okay. She makes friends very easily,
Oh,
and
that's nice.
along the way, she's learning
Yeah.
uh, friendships and what it really means.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mhm. And
yeah.
And what does life look like these days? You've transitioned into real estate, continued to embrace wellness, and of course, parent a teenager. How do you hold all of these things together?
Hmm, I think I'm diverting my gaze back to myself
Hmm.
without losing my gaze
Yeah.
on other aspects of my life that I have sort of been passionate about: parenting, uh, a homemaker.
Hmm.
I've decided that that gaze has to really come back because, it's such an exhausting, emotionally exhausting
Yeah.
to provide,
Yeah.
constantly provide.
Yeah.
It's a burnout, right?
Yeah.
And um, I don't want to keep at it without looking at myself because the cup has to be full. So I'm making a very conscious effort to, because if my parenting has been all about role modeling, then
Yeah.
this aspect is something that I came to very last.
Hmm.
But not because, not that I regret it, also not because I wanted it to be last, but I think there was so much more work that I wanted to do
Yeah.
and give my all before I came to this.
Yeah.
Because I've been very conscious about the fact that who my child is not just somebody who I'm bringing up.
Yeah.
I'm very conscious about the fact that who is going out there in the world
Yeah.
and what kind of value she can bring to her life and others through the process of the very grain that she's made of.
Yeah.
So that really was important for me.
Hmm.
And that does take so much more than just time, right?
Yes.
It really takes your all.
Yeah.
And I think now is just the right time.
Hmm.
Lately, like in the past 1 year or so. Yeah, so I started with sort of starting to work out when she was about 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, I realized I'm just so, मैं तो घोड़े के ब्लाइंडर पहन के घुस जाती हूँ चीजों में. So yeah, doing that, focusing on back on my career.
Yeah.
At 9, I saw traits of a teenager, a preteen,
Hmm.
and it was I thought मेरे पास time है.
Hmm.
But I said, no, 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 Shweta Kawaatra, don't think this is going to happen at 13 because at 13 something else is going to happen. This is happening at 9. You've given her a voice.
Yeah.
You made her fearless.
Yeah.
She's going to test that voice on you and at
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
So it is difficult for the parent, but just remember she has a voice and she
Yeah.
speaks up,
Yeah.
and that child is going to take it to the world. So
Hmm.
just bear it, but don't bear it like a victim, like a poor ma.
Yeah.
Get a hold of yourself and now start changing the gaze towards your own self as well.
Hmm.
So it's been a slow process, but I think last year, I just came out. Came out of, when I say came out, I think that the self hibernation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you have
Yeah.
a regular day in your life? What does it look like when personal and professional now go together? So what does a day look like in your life?
More chaotic because you don't stop being a mom and a homemaker.
Yes.
um, I wake up very early. I
Hmm.
think there is no chance that, because I need some me time. I
Yeah.
wake up, I before I wake up Zahara for school.
Hmm.
I don't want to have, I'm on days if I have, my alarm has not gone off or I haven't heard it. If I wake up at the same time, I am like, I'm not grounded and centered.
Hmm.
I haven't met myself before I meet the world within my household.
Wow. Yes.
And that that doesn't feel very balanced for anybody.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
think it's very important that I've always kept to meet myself before I meet anybody else.
Yeah.
And for that, I wake up early.
Hmm. Hmm.
मेरा अलार्म बजता है 4:30 बजे, रो रो के मैं 4:45 तक तो उठ ही जाती हूँ. Manav will insist 5. The amount it snoozes. And then I pray. We practice Buddhism. Maybe you know that.
Yeah.
So it's an integral part of our life. We just first and foremost, I just sit and read something and sit down to pray, chant, and then when I'm ready to sort of, yeah, then to the kitchen. I just feel that, it's important to be happy.
Yeah.
Not like not that relative happiness कि ये कुछ है तो happy,
Hmm.
आज दिन अच्छा जा रहा है तो happy, आज anxious नहीं हो तो happy, आज बच्चा बिहेव कर रहा है तो हैप्पी, ये तो बड़ा ही टेम्पररी है. आई
Hmm.
जस्ट फील दैट I just feel it's important for a child to meet the mother in a more, like the swan.
Yeah.
She looks like she's gliding so easily, but under the water, if you look, she's paddling very heavily.
Yes.
So it cannot be a fake.
Yes.
One has to paddle
Yeah.
furiously as a mom.
Yeah.
But how do you, while you're paddling so furiously, how do you bring that calm and composure if you
Yeah.
haven't met yourself early in the morning
Yeah.
and centered yourself?
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, it is my practice of Buddhism and my chanting and for whatever suits anybody. And I went through depression, Neha,
Yeah.
for postpartum depression for almost 5 years. And that was a
Wow.
very, very, very challenging aspect of my life. And that's where I, I faced the aspects of my life, I realized that how can I'm a fighter. I've
Mm-hmm.
always been a fighter in life. I battle it out.
Mm.
I don't cower down. How is it? Yes, it's tough,
Yeah.
but so what? What is it that I'm not able to do about it?
Hmm.
And I ask myself these questions is where I realized that there's something else going on.
Hmm.
And it was so tough that, because depression shows in your aggression sometimes, in your behavior.
Yeah.
Because it's a और कहाँ नजर आएगा?
Hmm.
It's not a pretty disease.
Yeah.
So it taught me many things. Yeah. At the same time, I also learned to, that I don't have to portray myself as perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get off that
Yeah.
um, trying to be somebody who you're not. This is how it
Hmm.
is.
Yeah.
This is how it is for now. I want to be accepted for who I am and as I am. And first, I had to do that.
Yeah.
So there were many learnings underneath it. Yes.
Yeah. But you talked about depression, and as a fellow patient on that journey, I am also very interested. How did you put your finger to it that yes, this is what I'm going through? Was it you? Was it someone else, Manav, someone else
Hmm.
who brought your attention to the fact that this is not who you are? You're going through something.
Um, it was a friend
Mm-hmm.
who one day asked me that, how are you doing? So I had isolated myself a lot
Yeah.
and was trying to deal with everything on my own. And I felt heavily judged. And also because I didn't know motherhood and I was being judged for knowing what motherhood really
Yeah. And
should be all
performing.
about, performing.
Mhm.
So I think I started judging myself.
Yeah.
So I'd isolated, and after a very long time, I happened to meet a friend, and in a gathering actually, and she said, "How are you?"
Mm.
So I put up a face and I said, "Ki, I'm not fine, but I'm battling it."
Mm.
I think she recognized it.
Mm.
She she has older kids,
Mm.
so she said that let's meet,
Mm.
and then she said that, do you know that postpartum depression is real?
Mm.
I had no clue what is postpartum depression. And that seed made me think that, oh my God, really? Could it be? Yeah, true, maybe, because I'm not myself.
Yeah.
ऐसे कोई इश्यूज नहीं है लाइफ में थे,
Hmm.
बट रिलेशनशिप्स वर सॉर्टेड।
Yeah.
तो और क्या चाहिए होता है, रिलेशनशिप सॉर्ट होती है ना, तो थोड़ा सा वैसे भी इंसान नॉर्मल फील करता है।
Right.
But yeah, my dog was, I think I was just, I was burnt out. My dog at that time, he went into depression also, and he could not take the sibling rivalry. From the day Zahra and that our Zahra entered the home, he was completely a trained dog. He started peeing at home. He
Oh,
started marking his territory.
right.
I think he sensed his my anxiety of not knowing what to do anymore
Right.
and focusing on the child, and
Yeah.
being protective towards someone else too.
Yes.
And he couldn't take it, and
Hmm.
he started peeing crazily everywhere, every inch of the house eventually.
Wow.
And then, like, and thanks to that, no house help would stay.
Yeah.
And it was just becoming very challenging because day or night, like I would hear his footsteps in the night, and वैसे भी babies crying for
Yeah.
feeding every 1.5 hours. तो नींद ही नहीं होती थी. 1 year I didn't sleep. Plus, I kept scrubbing the floors. Plus, I kept feeling guilty for the fact that how do I clean my hands, because I have to, the same. How do I touch hygiene? So I
Yeah.
think I just went into that OCD trip,
Yes.
and justified so because I'm cleaning
Yeah.
pee, and all the time, morning and night, 70, 80 times in a day,
Wow.
round the clock.
Wow.
I went mad. I think I went crazy.
Hmm.
And I didn't know इसका outcome क्या है. I tried taking help from the trainers, but I felt judged. They would pass on weird remarks at me,
Hmm.
and I felt ki, but that's not what I'm trying. I'm not trying to shun him away,
Yeah. Yeah. You
but
just don't know what to
you
do.
just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But then I just really felt helpless anyway. But then I decided I'm going to do what I'm going to do. 3.5 years, I took care of him like that too, with a
Wow.
newborn child, with practically no house help, because in a year and a half, I had 22 who came and went, which in itself was like a crazy ordeal.
Yes.
I sometimes decided I don't want anybody 24 hours. I'll tell myself, halt your life, no need to go out, it's okay.
Yeah.
At least get control of the kitchen and things
Yes.
happening in the right in a timely.
Right.
Anyways, there is where I just went into hibernation. I
Hmm.
decided after 1.5 years that I need to be on top of this.
Hmm.
I need to take charge of the basics of the life.
Right.
Because you dependent हो रहा है नहीं हो रहा है कर रहे हैं जो भी हो रहा है. When I took charge, I was more myself.
Yeah.
But I think by then my hormones, वो आई नहीं वापस ही नहीं आए ना. They're supposed to sort of retrieve
Yeah.
back, or I don't know
Yeah.
what you call it.
Yeah.
Also, I realized very recently that my perimenopause started at that time.
Oh.
So no wonder it was a crazy time of my life.
Yeah.
But nobody's talking about it.
Yes.
So my depression was a cause of perimenopause, my hormones depleting, and yeah,
Oof. And and
and a
it's
newborn.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And you know how they say it takes a village to raise a child, but
yeah.
it just sounds so isolating. That journey can be so isolating for some people. Were what does your village look like now, and what it looked like at that point of time when you were so alone, and how did you muster up the village?
So I think I decided to become the village. My husband had to work, and that is not a point of conflict in my mind. It
Right.
never was.
Yeah.
I'm the wife who's like, you set fort there, I'll set fort here. ये तो
Yeah.
करना ही पड़ेगा.
Right.
At the same time, na, Neha, I've been a working woman all
Hmm.
my life.
Yeah.
Matlab, all my adult life actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a very nurturing person. So there was no fight in my head about sitting home.
Hmm.
But the fight was within, there was this other me that said, अब तुम्हें यही करना पड़ेगा.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that felt almost like imprisoned within my own body. Then
Yeah.
why do I have to fight this alone? At the
Yes.
same time, I'm aware that he's got to go out. And the nature of our work doesn't have him come back at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock,
Yeah.
or have a Sunday or a Saturday off.
Yeah.
He's got to work.
Yeah.
So, one, there was no issue with that understanding. Yet there was this other self, which meant that, which was like, why should you do everything?
Yeah.
And that conflict was terrible, yeah, within. But I think it was just perimenopause.
Hmm. Hmm.
Only if someone can tell you now there's something which is not okay with you, and this is what it is.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
is okay to fight it out. But
Yeah.
when one doesn't know why is one behaving, because there is a voice which you know is very clear in understanding. You understand your role. You understand it's not going to be forever.
Yeah.
It is the need of the hour. Yet there is a conflict. It is
Yeah.
very confusing.
Yeah.
Then you wonder which one are you?
Yes. Yes.
And then there are many sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. And you start other, like, in addition to resenting the other person, you start resenting yourself
Yeah,
for thinking that way. That
yeah,
how, when did I become this person that I'm thinking this way about my
yeah.
partner? And it's just,
And
yeah.
that just angered me a lot. I became
Yeah.
very angry.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what you asked me, but I just
But
went
we
on.
were just talking about your postpartum depression journey, and
Yes.
ha. And now my next question in that is that I think that's what you were coming to also. How did you come out of it?
I'm trying to, it's such an important question, and there's no simple answer.
Yeah.
There's one thing that I held on to,
Mm-hmm.
was actually my practice of Buddhism.
Yeah.
It's actually a philosophy that teaches us to just also care for other human beings.
Yes.
And I wouldn't say we counsel anybody, but
Mm.
also be interested in other people's struggles and their sufferings, and sort of see them and meet them where they are and help them move forward.
Yes.
I never left doing that, no
Mm.
matter how tough my life became.
Mm.
And somewhere that gave me the somewhere that I think I didn't get swallowed by my pain.
Mm-hmm.
It gripped me, but not hard enough that I give up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there began my journey of wanting to sort of come out of it. Every year I would have a new revelation.
Mm.
When Zahara was one, I realized I have depression.
Mm-hmm.
I also realized that the need of the hour is to meet. It took me 2 months to go to a psychiatrist. I'd
Yeah.
never been to one. I didn't know how do you go to one. My
Yeah.
mind would say, you don't need to, you can deal
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
But then I just, 2 months, I really, 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 really reflected and contemplated. And I said, ye hoga nahi mujhse.
Mm.
I told my husband, I don't think it's easy for a person undergoing depression to take herself or himself.
Yeah.
You take me. Even
Yeah.
on the day I tell you, now, maybe I'll tell you, I understood this about depression, that it's very peculiar.
Yeah.
And I said, maybe on the day when we are going, I'm going to chicken out. But
Mm.
you take charge.
Mm.
Don't go by my comfort, because he was also thinking she should be comfortable. If she
Right.
doesn't want to, let me. So I said, no, you take charge, take control of this. And so I took control about him getting very sure. So I think the OCD started showing its dignified aspects,
Yeah.
the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
That I had an objective view to what I was being, the
Yes.
subject also. I had a bird's eye view
Yes.
to my own life. And that's exactly how it happened.
Hmm.
We fixed it. I was ready, but then I wanted to chicken out, but then I chicken out. And then I was just hoping that he's going to
Yeah.
do and remember. He will
Yeah.
do and remember. That's how it started. And I think the first day when I met a psychiatrist, she heard me. And the first time I heard that what you're going through is normal. Up till now, तो मैंने यही सुना था बदलो अपने आप को घर में नहीं but बाहर से इतने
Hmm.
judgments कि you need to change. Don't you
Yeah.
know? Look
Yeah.
at the energy you're sending to your child.
Yeah.
इतना नहीं पता तुम्हें.
Hmm.
तुम
Hmm.
माँ हो इतना भी नहीं समझती.
Hmm.
Oof, that made me go more into guilt. So anyway, to cut the long story short, I did go on medication because I was really under stress. सोया ही नहीं था बंदा तो stress में ही होगा. Hormonal cortisol was so high perhaps.
Yeah.
I went on to medication and it was frightening because I started sleeping too much. घर में कोई है ही नहीं.
Hmm.
First day I didn't wake up to my
Hmm.
child's cries. That
Yeah.
put me in a frenzy. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing this. But then soon enough, I think wisdom prevailed because there was this part of me that was constantly also caring for strangers.
Yeah.
That gave me an objective view to my own life
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah.
So while I wanted to be swallowed by my own pain, I only didn't allow it. And I took the medication for about 9 months, only to realize that it's helped me, but it's going to just make me keep it at that because हम wean off करते थे, doctor would wean it off, I would go back to square one. I realized I have to find a more uh, ये हो गया है, अब तक
Hmm.
जरूरत थी, ये समझने की जरूरत थी कि it can get better.
Right.
What you feel within when you are on medication, you do feel a little normal, your thinking capacity changes, your perspectives change.
Yeah.
Now try and figure out what are the most natural ways to get your body kicking in.
Yes.
Your body is like a pharmaceutical company. How do you do it?
Yeah.
I think that the perspective to when you're suffering, to get
Hmm.
that perspective was the most beautiful aspect. And I think that is where I became very ambitious about how to do it. And then I tried lot of various ways. I weaned myself off with my doctor's permission, against her wishes, but with her permission.
Hmm.
It took me 3 months to wean off. I then went back into the spiral. Then I found probiotics that
Hmm.
gave me little more thinking capacity, normal thinking capacity to
Yeah.
find uh, a large aspect, actually, a lot of thinking capacity. Then I found Ayurveda, I found acupuncture. I think my life just started to flow. I was so sure that there is a way without putting my brain to sleep.
Yes.
Medicine helps. I wouldn't say it doesn't help, but I didn't want to stick to just that kind of help. I wanted my own body to work for itself
Right.
rather than becoming dependent. So
Yes.
for me, I realized there has to be a better thing. And that belief in myself, that belief in my body, and my body supported. Body has its own wisdom.
Yes.
When you respect and appreciate by acknowledging it,
Hmm.
it responds to you.
Yeah.
So, and likewise, the environment responds too.
Yes.
And I did find people from out of my environment, and acupuncture worked for me. I
Mm.
will not say acupuncture necessarily works.
Yes.
I'd say nothing works
Mm.
unless you have that inner determination and that inner genuine, authentic need to find a more organic resolution to things.
Yeah.
I had that,
Yeah.
and that's how it unfolded for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
acupuncture did just that. It helped me to realize that how it was not autoimmune. kidney functions not, spleen function not, pancreas not, liver not, everything had slowed down.
Hmm.
And the doctor told me that everything will function without medication.
Hmm.
And during this time, just before I went to the acupuncturist, I also menopaused.
Hmm.
So, and all of a sudden, now I have no idea why I'm not getting my periods. I am
Hmm.
not expecting this to happen at 40.
Yeah.
I said, by the way, I've been so naive. I'm not sure if it's just me. In today's world, maybe most people will not be. But mm, 10, 15, 13 years ago, there was no inlet into an
Yeah.
understanding about ये हो क्या रहा है,
Right.
beyond just understanding that it's depression. तो मैं periods रुक गए तो my doctor said test करा लो, test कराया तो she's saying you menopause. So I'm like what?
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
And menopause के साथ और थोड़ा बहुत जो मैं normalize हो रही थी, a lot more I was escaping seeing the hot flashes.
Yeah.
I didn't want to acknowledge them. But then I realized that that's it.
Hmm.
You know, Neha, I just decided, I simply made up my mind
Hmm.
because I went so under my negativity. My negativity had such a grip on me
Hmm.
that I decided that I'm going to reverse my menopause.
What?
Yeah, I was so done and sick of this negativity of my own life.
Hmm.
Yet, mind you, I have this overview, I have a bird's eye view. So I was sick of it.
Yeah.
I said, I'm done being controlled. I'm going to pave the way.
Hmm.
And that's how I found this person who did acupuncture. And I went with it and I just flowed with wisdom. It's like sort of that inner knowing that I've got to go there. I didn't go anywhere recklessly.
Hmm.
And my periods came back
Wow.
and regularized
Wow.
like in my 20s
Wow.
with no hassle, no breaks, absolutely new, like a new reproductive system.
Hmm.
And my doctors were shocked because three doctors, three gynacs, I was just, I think, being over hopeful. So इसको पता नहीं है ये क्या बोल रही है. I went in, well, my test said so, right?
Yeah.
So I asked one of them, so I'll never get my periods. So one to laugh. She's saying, no.
Yeah.
I think it was a stupid question for her, but I genuinely wanted to know.
Yeah.
Ki matlab, is it that this is it?
I'm done.
I'm done? Like, do you just get done one day?
Yeah.
So, but now I realize you don't get done one day, right?
Yeah.
It takes a while to
Yeah.
get done. But there was no education. There was nobody educated at that time. When I'm asking this question, it's a great way to seep in education then.
Yes.
It didn't happen. I'm surprised how.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyhow, I was done for a good 3 to 4 months. It's just that I was able to get the system working in a way that it bounced back. It's not necessary. I was menopaused.
Hmm.
My report said so too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I was just this belief that sort of that I want to just the whole thing about it can't be just it, right?
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
This is depression. This is
Yeah.
medication.
Yeah.
Now take it.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
live with it. Now it's
Hmm.
menopause. I just felt that our life should be in our control, right?
Yeah.
But why is it? And
Hmm.
how so?
Yeah.
Sort of led me to find my answers. And a large part of it so that I speak about it, so that I just want to tell women that, or men,
Hmm.
be curious
Hmm.
to understand how you yourself, your body, your mind, how you function.
Yeah.
There is more to you than you can see. You may not have developed it yet,
Yes.
but it doesn't mean this is
It's
it.
not there. Yeah.
Yeah, there is a deeper potential. Let's not just go by what reality says. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
I've always been sort of a rebel. I'm glad
Yeah.
that the rebellious nature has shown its more dignified aspects, the
Yeah.
other side of the coin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so constructive, and
Mm.
it could turn out any which way, right? It could be
Any which way,
destructive.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
But
absolutely. And yeah, I've menopause now. And menopause again came with a lot of its, it does come with a lot of issues.
yeah.
But I've been able to navigate it so beautifully. The only, perhaps, very few symptoms, brain fog being one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm able to navigate it so beautifully because if it's brain fog, it only gets me in the present moment to be more
Yes.
present.
Yes.
Eight neurotransmitters don't work in the brain when estrogen says goodbye.
Yeah.
So one really has trouble processing. But I'm just thinking that it's okay. I still want to be able to live normally and use this aspect of my life to bring out the better.
Right.
Ra- on its own, though, it will not bring out the better.
Yeah.
So I think I'm a rebel with the cause.
How beautiful. How
Yeah.
beautiful is that? And I think it's such a I think you're very, very self-aware. That's something that, it's very striking because I initially spoke about the peace that comes. You carry this aura of peace. And then while we speak, you realize it's not just, it's a cultivated peace. It's not just, वो
Mm.
ऐसे नहीं आ गई है कि, oh,
Yeah.
it's peace. You've worked for it, and you've built
I
that.
hustled for it.
Yes. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And what's one thing that you're still learning about yourself, still learning about parenting, even after 13 years?
New phase. 13, trust me, brings a new phase every time the child takes a new turn,
Yeah.
the mother in oneself takes the new turn because
Mm.
I don't know how to handle a teen.
Yeah.
So it's a new chapter. Okay, Shweta Kawaatra, did you think you've got it? Let's start afresh, fresh, open page, nothing written. Now you decide what you're going to write. But one thing that I have learned and deeply accepted about myself that it's okay to make mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And through this journey, I will make mistakes and I
Mm.
don't have to be scared
Yeah.
because if I'm a person who's going to learn from mistakes also, then क्या प्रॉब्लम है तुम्हारी कर लो
Yeah.
कुछ जानबूझ के तो नहीं करने वाली इट्स
Mm.
unintentional
Hmm.
so कर लो so
Yeah.
I've become very forgiving of myself
Yeah. That's
and that's how
beautiful.
I plan to embrace the change that's how actually I have planned
Wow,
yeah
wow. And Shweta, we are coming to the end of this conversation, but I have two more questions for you before we
sure
close. If you were sitting across your pre-parent self, the one who was, who was not a mom yet, or and if you could say anything to her, what would you say to her?
I would say nothing I would just allow her to take the same journey all over again
Wow. Hmm.
yeah
Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful. And finally, for all the parents out there who feel like they're getting it wrong, they are not doing it properly, they're struggling, what would you like to tell them from where you stand?
two things yes it's great to say that I want to be a forgiving parent
Yeah.
but I also come from a space of deeply, intensely educating myself as a parent
Mm-hmm.
and really revolutionizing the human within me to become that parent.
Yeah.
Without that, to say I'll forgive and accept myself would be a crutch
Mm-hmm.
and a justification.
Yeah.
And weakness always shows up as a justification. So I'd say to parents, don't presume that parenthood, which is the most important occupation in the world, does not come with a manual.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it doesn't come with a manual for you.
Mm.
In today's times of social media, there are manuals and how.
Yeah.
Don't just scroll. Use use these times to educate yourself. Bring this curiosity, this learning. Otherwise, you'll just learn from control.
Yeah.
And to unlearn control is also an education.
Yeah.
As human beings, the to become a mother is actually the mother of human revolutions.
Mm.
So please undergo that the this this most harrowing process because it revolutionizes you.
Yeah.
How else are you going to bring? फिर आप कौन सी वैल्यूज जो आपका बैगेज है वही वैल्यूज चले जाएंगे बाय डिफॉल्ट वो
Yes.
फिर भी जाएंगे आप जो भी कर लो वो फिर भी चले जाएंगे there you can tell yourself that I can still accept myself because then you can look within
Yeah.
when nobody's watching and you know your truth
Yes.
in your most vulnerable self and authentic self. You can look at yourself and say, yet I gave it my all and I did my best, not the outward best. Then you can say that, it's okay if you make mistakes.
Wow.
But yes, the underline, the crux is don't parent by default. Please educate yourself.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Shweta, thank you truly for your stories, for your honesty, and your ability to sit with the complexity of life with such grace. Whether it's navigating the layers of public identity, building a life rooted in love and everyday rituals, or raising a teenager with curiosity and connection, you brought it all to the table with a kind of quiet strength that's both grounding and inspiring. Thank you for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you so much, Neha. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. And to everyone listening, thank you, as always, for spending this hour with us on parenthood. If today's episode touched something in you, if it made you smile, pause, or even reflect on your own journey as a parent or a partner, I hope you'll share it with someone else who might need to hear it. Until next time, I'm Neha Garg, and this is Parenthood. Take care of yourself. Bye bye.